الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وبعد. هذا بلال بن رباح، عبد حبشي أسود من الحبشة. At the first year, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent as a messenger, and the rumors started spreading that there is a man who claiming that he's a prophet, Bilal didn't have friends like Abu Bakr and Abdul Rahman ibn Auf and Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas to tell him and invite him about Islam. Even if Abu Bakr was a friend to him, I mean, what would Bilal do to the whole message of Islam? Bilal, Abu Bakr was always pointing to those who would make a change, who would go to Uthman, hey, come to Islam. Abdul Rahman, come to Islam. But Bilal heard about Islam as he was serving. لَيْسَ مِنِّي لَكُمْ إِلَّا صَبُّ الدِّلَاءِ وَحَبُّ الشِّيَاعِ. Bilal would go to Dar al-Nadwa where Abu Jahl and Abu Sufyan and Abu Lahab is sitting and discussing and talking about a man who's called Muhammad, claiming that he's a prophet. And there's only one God to be worshipped. And the black is just like the white. And the abd is like the master. No difference between all of us. We're all coming from Adam and Adam from sand. For the first time in history, Bilal is listening to all of that. And he loved it. He liked it. He went to Wahshi ibn Harb, his close friend, and he told him, didn't you hear what they were saying? Don't you come to Islam? Wahshi denied it and didn't like it. But Bilal decided to come to the Islam from the early times of al-Bi'thah. And he started joining Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gathering in Dar al-Arqam ibn al-Arqam. Now hear me out here. Between Bilal coming to Islam and him being exposed by his master Umayyah ibn Khalaf is 1 month. 1 month only. And then he was exposed. His revert to Islam was announced secretly. No one knew. But eventually, when you're hiding at night, when suddenly your master is calling you and you're praying, he got exposed. But it only took it 1 month. 1 month! And Bilal ibn Rabah was afflicted was submitted to the most ugliest torturing and testings and tribulations that any of us can be ever submitted to. Tortured to death. A test that probably none of us faced it on the planet. A story that we are telling it to our children until this day and age. And his one and only response was, Ahadun Ahad. Ahadun Ahad. Umayyah ibn Khalaf used to drag him in the hot burning sun and put a rock on him and asking him for one thing. قُلْ كَلِمَةً فِي Muhammad. Just say a word in Muhammad. Say he's a liar. I'm not asking for much. Just say he's a crazy. He's a magician. And all what he says, Ahadun Ahad. Brothers and sisters, my question to you is, what has Bilal learned in that 1 month that gave him all that resilience? What kind of aqeedah this man has? One of us is a Muslim for 30, 40, 50 years. And the moment he loses a job, he starts questioning Allah. The moment he goes into the easiest forms of difficulty, he questioned the existence of God. What's the difference between us and Bilal? Put Bilal aside, take Aisha. Aisha. We were laughing with her yesterday. Today we are reflecting with her. Aisha was submitted to the worst exam, the worst testings that any lady can be ever subjected to. Hadithatul Ifk. How old was she? She was only 14 years old when she was accused to be a fornicator, to be a zaniya, someone who commits adultery. Brothers, 14 years old! And the worst thing that you can do to a Muslim lady is to attack her dignity and honor. And what was her response? When Rasulullah came to her and she's narrating that hadith in al-Bukhari, he told her, Ya Aisha, إن كنت بريئة سيبرئك الله وإن كنت غير ذلك فاستغفر الله. If you're innocent, Allah will prove your innocency. If you're otherwise, repent to Allah. And the brothers, 14 years old girl. And she looked at her brother, Abu Bakr. Ya abati, قل قولا لرسول الله. Tell him something. Don't you trust me? Abu Bakr, you respond to Rasulullah? How do I respond to Rasulullah? ما أقول لرسول. She looked at her mother, Roman. Mother, Ya Ummah, قولي قولا. Say something. Didn't say a word. She stepped up for herself. Look at the iman of this young girl. She looked at the Prophet, Abu Bakr and her mother. إني بريئة ولا أقول لكم إلا كما قال أبو يوسف فصبر جميل والله المستعان على ما تصفون. What is the difference between this Aisha and the young girls that we have today? Bring me a 14 years old young lady from our community with the least forms of bullying. Just tell her you look fat today. Allahu Akbar. Mentally broke down, heartbroken, done for a lifetime. But Aisha was attacked in her own dignity, in her own honor, and that didn't shake her. My question today, and I would like to leave myself with you today as we are learning Islam, because those people certainly have learned the Aqidah differently. 1 month, all what it took for Bilal ibn Rabah to stand resilient in front of the worst difficulties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts him with. And the easiest one can shake us. How can we understand and stand firm and be steadfast with the destinies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if we don't understand that all the forms of destiny are in His hands? How can we steadfast and you don't understand قُلْ لَا يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا? How can you be confident and never worry and overthink about your rizq of tomorrow if you do understand إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الرَّزَّاقُ ذُو الْقُوَّةِ الْمَتِينُ مَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُم مِّن رِزْقٍ وَمَا أُرِيدُ. I got that. I'm providing for you. Just believe in me. How can you reach all of that and you don't have the Aqidah of Bilal? Brothers and sisters, Ramadan is a great chance to learn everything, because obviously we are learning Islam upside down. What we learn initially is Salah and Siyam and Hijab and acts of rituals. They didn't learn that initially. Salah and Siyam and Hijab was obligated later on at the Islam time. But what was revealed initially is قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Certainly Bilal has some sort of secret treasures with that name that he kept repeating it, that drove Umayyah ibn Khalaf insane. They understand the little surahs of Hamim, Ar-Rahman, علم القرآن, إذا وقعت الواقعة, الحاقة ما الحاقة. If you don't understand, if you don't believe truly in the hereafter, how can you ever stand in front of any difficulty in this dunya? How can you understand that Allah will replace you, that Allah will reward you, that Allah will compensate you? You would never be able to do so unless you have the foundation of Aqidah that those people had. And this is a great chance to live with the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah reminds you, وَاذْكُرُوا مِيثَاقَهُ الَّذِي وَثَقَكُمْ بِهِ إِذْ قُلْتُمْ سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. Treasures and treasures of Allah are coming out from Surah Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, An-Nisa, and today Al-Ma'idah. And again, brothers, I repeat my piece of advice. Visit the verses that we are reciting before coming to the masjid. So as the Imam is reciting it, you're reflecting and living with it. And only then the Quran will find its path to your heart that will change your way of thinking, your mentality and mindset. And you would perhaps become another version of Bilal, who became the strongest believer after 1 month of his Islam. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.